Well, hello everybody. Today we're going to do a garden update. Beginning part of July. Today's July 10th. This here is our Howden Pumpkins. And they've really taken off since I've planted them in. There are probably about 8 plants in here, spaced in 2 to 3 bunches. And they finally have taken off. It was a pretty cold spring, but the last few weeks, couple weeks at least, it's been really hot, really humid, and this plant has taken off. I put some 10-10-10. It's in a Pro Mix type of soil, and I fertilized it. These are supposed to get, they say, 20 to 30 pounds. I've grown them before. I've never really seen 20 pounds, but some 10-10-10 and calcium is in there, so we'll see how that goes. Let's go down to the main garden here. I'll show you what's going on here. So this is the area here where I've got some bulbs. I've got garlic. I've got tulips. I've got a bunch of things that come up. Hyacinth. But as you can see how wet this is, we've had some absolute downpours lately. And unfortunately what's happening is I've been taking care of the weeds between the rows of garlic here. They're getting close. The ends are starting to brown. I've snapped off all the scapes. We ate those. They were delicious. Very edible. And so pretty soon we'll be pulling the bulbs up, but not just yet. Here's the peppers. Here we have, these are my jalapenos. In that row right there, that weak row, I have some sweet bell peppers. And they're just not doing anything. So I am going to transplant these peppers and get them out of here, and they're going to go in a row right down there where they'll get a lot more sun, and it's a lot drier because it's higher up. This, as you can see, the ground is still wet from the last rain we had, and it's just really soft here. We've got some Thai. Those are jalapenos, sorry. There's 2 jalapenos and 2 Thai. Let's go down there and take a look at those. And then I want to get to these trellised cucumbers. Yeah, so these Thai, I think I might move too, because this ash tree, which is now infected again, that's infected, that one's infected with the emerald ash borer. They're going to be treating those in the next week or so. We have to get these transplanted too and get them into some steady 8-hour sun, because they do like the sun and they like it hot. Alright, so what I wanted to show you were the cucumbers, pickling cucumbers, and I built 2 different trellises. What I did here is I just took 2 4-foot sticks and I screwed them together. So one, is probably 18 inches or so. So they make a nice, almost 6 foot, 5.5 foot tall, posts. And then between that I just ran some of this wire that I just stapled. That's all I did, was use my construction stapler thing. And then I trained this to start growing up, and you can see how it's boy, that's pretty tight right there, wrapped up around there. And we're getting a lot of little cucumbers. One thing I didn't know is you're supposed to prune these, which I went on YouTube and found out that's exactly what you're supposed to do. So I've been pruning these so that I can get the most yield out of this, but you can see it's really getting going. So this is the first one. This is an upright. I'll give you a side shot here. You can see that is an upright, completely 90 degrees straight up. Now this one I built from scrap. I had these triangular pieces of 3/4 inch plywood. So I thought, well, what if I built something that the cucumbers could come up and then kind of hang down, and I could pick the cucumbers from inside? Well, it's taken a little bit longer. These were all planted, and all these trellises were put out the same day. It's taken a little bit longer for them to figure out which way to go, but they're finally getting the message, and they're finally sending these tendrils that are coming out and grabbing hold, and they're pulling their stuff. Like this one here, he's actually come up from the backside. So this is a different type of one. And then this one was a last minute one. I used 2 shepherd's hooks, and I just hung it And then I zip tied it here at the bottom. So, and then I ran, just like I did on that far one, I ran these little stakes, skinny little stakes, plastic ones that have a metal rod in them, in the ground so that this thing wouldn't fall over and topple over. It's got some strength. And this, again, has taken up. So that is, I think they like going straight up. And they're on there, you know, they're really grabbing hold, and let's see how they spiral up. And this one I don't have as many. Got a lot of flowers. And there, look, it's down there. Yeah, little cucumber beetle. Yeah, I saw them over there on the squash. So we're gonna take a look and see how well these things do. I think we're gonna get a lot of productivity out of those. In the middle, I have acorn squash. I got a bunch of acorn squash. I have spaghetti squash, a couple of those, some more acorn. Somewhere in there is a Hubbard too. There's a Hubbard squash in there somewhere. Down here I have my cauliflower. A couple, and then you see they're not doing so well, and the reason, the soil's so wet. This is the end. You can see dogs have been walking and running through here, but yeah, it's just a little too wet. Dries out a little bit more here, and these plants seem to be doing a little bit better. We'll walk up here. Here's the spaghetti squash, and we're already getting, yep, there's spaghetti. Already got a nice one right there. One there too. I did hand pollinate those, so I'm pretty happy that they're taken off because I did hand pollinate those. This is an acorn here. What else I gotta show you? Let's go down and take a look at those 4 meager little tomato plants. They're not doing very well either. And again, it's because of all the water. Oh, maybe you might not recognize this because it doesn't look too good, but there's a lot of new growth at the top. This is our poinsettia plant from last Christmas. We got it right after Thanksgiving. Had it in the house. This thing it was March, it was April. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna have to get this thing outside pretty soon. So I decided by May, I brought it outside and in a protected area when I knew that we weren't gonna get any more frost because I didn't want it to die. And then I wound up hitting it with the weed whacker on accident. I moved it out here in the full sun, and you can see the new growth that I'm getting. So this is good because it's a Mexican plant, which I found out, and it's not fruit or anything that turns red. It's the leaves in response to lowering amounts of daylight. So we're gonna grow this as long as we can grow it and get it as hot as we can. I might even put a little hoop house over this thing to keep it nice and warm so we can keep it outside as long as possible to keep it in its natural, you know, it likes the soil here. And then we'll get it inside. And just by the nature of living up north, it should start turning red, hopefully. And then here's our tomato plants. I might as well walk out here. Top on this one snapped completely off. So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with that. This one I'm getting some flowers. Treated these with 10-10-10 as well as some calcium. But again, they're in really poor soil because it's so wet. Got some Brussels sprouts growing here. I got some cabbage up at the other plot. I'll show you that. This one looks a little bit better. And we do have some tomatoes just starting to form there. Let's go up to the other garden. I'll show you that. So I want to get up to this garden before the air conditioner turns on. It's still about 82, 83 degrees. The kale is responding really well. I made a lot of soup last year. This kale soup with sausage and carrots and stuff. It was so good. So I'm going to be doing that. Here we have our Pac-Man broccoli. If you remember from last year, I had some broccoli that were the size of, they were huge. I mean, they were just twice the size of my hand. They were just huge. And after I cut them, I got more side shoots. I also have some cauliflower growing, and then I've got some more broccoli. So this cauliflower is actually, this plot does really well. It's on the northwest side of the house. Gets late afternoon sun. Looks like somebody like Maddie was digging. Yep, so it gets late sun. It's all shaded till about noon. And then it slowly starts working in, but it stays kind of warm. It also gets a lot of reflection off of this white siding. So that keeps things, probably bounces some of the rays over here, but yeah, those, this plot always does pretty well. Always does pretty well. So it's really good for these types of crops that are cool season, because when it gets hot like this, I can water it. I don't need to because it's raining so much, but if I had to, I can water this, and this area will hold the water pretty well. So that's the update for the garden. In another month, I'll do another update, and I'm sure that this is going to be a huge area of pumpkins, and hopefully we'll have a bunch of pumpkins to show you. But so far so good. For as much rain as we've had, well, this is kind of where we are. So I want to thank you guys for watching. If you like these types of videos, please click that subscribe button and also hit the bell so that you get my updates for the videos I try to do once a week or so. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see everybody in the next video.